the idea of this webinar is that we are going to go through the A2 state sample exam, which is available online. We are going to go through all the tasks that are in the exam, and I will tell you what you can expect from it. I will give you some tips and tricks to get ready for it. I will admit to people who are joining. Okay, so yeah, a little bit about me. Maybe you haven't heard about me, or you're seeing me for the first time. So my name is Date Pūre. I am a native Latvian speaker, Latvian teacher. I have been working in the field of education for more than 10 years now. I actually started my teaching career teaching French. I did it when I was studying to get my master's degree. I hold a master's degree in legal translation, but during my studies, I understood that I like teaching more than translating, and I accepted my first job offer to teach French to adults. And yeah, and later on I started teaching English as well. And during my maternity leave, I started teaching my first language, and which I love the most. And this is like a dream come true that I can actually teach my first language. And obviously, I have been a learner myself, and I'm still learning, as English is not my first language. And speaking about French, please learn from my mistakes because yeah, my first teaching job was actually teaching French, but unfortunately, if you don't use it, you lose it, and I have lost my French. So learn from my mistakes, and if you want to speak Latvian, then you have to use it if you don't want to lose it. Да. So, in order to avoid this situation, that you have no idea what is going on in the exam, I will explain you what are the tasks in the exam, what you can expect from it, because the scariest part is usually when, like, it is not about only about learning a language or doing certain tasks, but it is about anything in life. The things that make us scared are the ones that we don't understand or that are not familiar for us. So, and therefore, in this webinar, we are going to take a look at all tasks in the exam, the types that are here. And for motivation, I am sharing one result of my students. She passed the test and she actually started learning Latvian from scratch. She didn't have any prior knowledge in grammar and writing. She had lived in Latvia for 2 years before taking the exam, but she hadn't learned Latvian at all. So she did it actually in 3 months, which is the fastest result ever, learning Latvian from scratch and just passing the A2 test. But it just shows how much you can achieve, what great things you can do when you put your mind to it and when you are motivated. So yeah, and another thing that I want to say that before we look at the exam is that learning a language, it is not a sprint, it is a marathon. And sometimes you may feel like exhausted and it's just so tiring, all the grammar forms and all the rules that you need to remember and vocabulary, and it is just a lot. But remember that every single step counts, and every single step even if it is a little bit that you do every day, it takes you closer to your goal. And if let's say you haven't studied Latvian before, and if your goal is to pass the A2 test, state exam, then my advice is to start early, because as I mentioned before, it takes time and it takes motivation, but everything is possible. And if you really want to do this, I'm 100% sure you'll get there. So speaking about the exam, so you can access the exam when you go to website vist.gov.lv. You feel free to scan the QR code. It will take you directly to the website. So this is the website where you can access the sample tests for all levels. There you can also access the listening tasks, so there are the recordings as well, and there is also the answer key given. So if you have been learning Latvian for some time and you think you are ready to take the exam, my advice would be to try to do the sample exam that is available online to see how well you understand everything, and yeah, if you whether you feel ready, or maybe you need to take some time and work on some things that you think are still missing. Yeah. Okay. So the test consists of 4 parts. So they are going to test your listening skills, reading, writing, and speaking. So in the listening part and in the writing part, you are going to do those parts on the computer. That we have a message. Yeah. Okay, the QR code. Okay, I will send the link to email everybody. Okay, so yeah, the listening and the reading part you are going to do on the computer electronically. So for the listening task, you have 25 minutes. For the reading task, 30 minutes. Then rakstīt prasmes pārbaude writing test. This is you will do it the old-fashioned way. You will write on a paper and you will have 35 minutes to do it. And runāt prasmes pārbaude, the speaking part, and you will have, it will take around 10 to 15 minutes. Then on the right, you can see some useful phrases that you will see in the tasks. I will read them and I will translate them for you, so you can keep them in mind. Klausieties, listen, lasiet, read, rakstiet, write, atbildiet, answer, ievelciet tukšajā vietā. So this will be about drag and drop exercises. So that could be in the reading task or in the writing task that you will do on the computer. Atzīmējiet pareizo atbildi, mark the correct answer, uzdodiet jautājumu, and ask the question. This will be in the speaking task. And izvēlieties atbilstošo, choose the corresponding answer. Okay. So some information about the test that they have given on their website. Pārbaudas norise, so how it will, what you will need to do when you want to take the exam. So first of all, upon entering the examination room, you will need to show a valid ID document. So don't forget your passport or ID. so that I cannot go and take the exam for you. Second of all, you will be given a code created in the information system. Before you start, you log into the system with your code, and then you do the listening and the reading tasks. After listening and reading tasks, you will get the writing task papers, and you will need to write your code on these papers. And the speaking part happens one by one. And before speaking, again, you will need to show your ID again. So teacher Dace cannot go and speak for you. Then, on the right, you can see vērtējums, that is the evaluation. So this is very important to understand. So in each part, you can get 15 points. But in order to pass the exam, you should get at least 9 points in each. So 9 points or 60%. So what it looks like. So let's say you get 80% in listening, you get 80% in reading, you get 70% in speaking, but in writing you get only 40%. This means that you haven't passed the test. You should get at least 60% in each part, okay, in order to pass the exam. Another important thing that I have, the students have asked me, let's say now you passed the A2 state exam, and then let's say after 2 years, you want to take it again, just to test yourself and your Latvian. So if you pass the A2 exam now, but later decide to take it again, they are going to, and you fail in 2 years, then the new result replaces the old one, and you lose your A2 level. Yeah, so that is important. So only the latest result counts. Yeah, because as it was with my French, if you don't use it, you lose it. Yeah. Okay. All right, so now we are going to go through all types of exercises, and I'm going to explain what are the things that you need to remember, and I will give you some tips and tricks. Tātad pārbaudas uzdevumu paraugi, on the left you can see the example from the sample exam that is available on their website, and let's take a look at the first exercise. Pirmais uzdevums. Klausieties paziņojumus. Katrs paziņojums skanēs 2 reizes. Listen to the announcements. You will hear each announcement twice. And pēc katra paziņojuma atzīmējiet pareizo atbildi. After each announcement, mark the correct answer. So on the right, you can see a similar exercise from my course. Yeah. So yeah, in the first exercise, first I would say usually is the easiest one. There are questions, and you just need to mark the correct answer. Yeah. Otrais uzdevums. This is yes or no. You will just need to mark whether the statement is true or false. Jā, atzīmēt, vai apgalvojums ir pareizs vai nepareizs. Mark if the statement is true or false. And trešais uzdevums. Klausieties sarunas. Sarunas skanēs 2 reizes. Listen to the conversations. You will hear the conversations twice again. Ievelciet atbilstošo skaitli vai vārdu. Drag and drop the corresponding number or word. 4 atbildes ir liekas. So this is important. So in Latvian, the adjective liekas, it means something that you don't need, that is not necessary. So here there are more answers to choose from than the sentences that you need to drag and drop the correct options into. So in the listening tasks, make sure that you review the numbers. As you can see, there is 54, 23, and also telling the time, pulkstenis, 23, 10 minūtes. So yeah, what I have noticed, yeah, telling the time is always, they're troublemakers. But another thing that I have noticed that sometimes students mix up like the teens and the tens, like either it is 15 or 50, so pay attention to those. Yeah, and usually in these tasks where you need to drag and drop the correct answer, there will be different words, like there will be numbers, there will be nouns, verbs, adjectives, yeah, so they can test your understanding. Now, now let's move on to reading comprehension. In the first task, there will be a text, several texts, 4 texts, and each of them will be around 100 words long. And after this text, you will need to mark, there, as you can see, there are 3 sentences, and you need to mark which sentence is correct. Yeah, there are 3 statements, but only one is correct. Okay. Yeah, on the right, you can see an example from my course. So we are training so that you feel comfortable with exercises like that, and about vocabulary about different topics. Yeah, but one thing that I want to say about reading is read a text like a detective. And why detective? Because the reading task is always about like getting the general idea, the main idea that was in the text. And imagine you are watching a movie, and usually the first suspect is not the killer. So you need to look for the clues in the text. So what happens in reading part? Sometimes, let's say if the text is maybe about a topic that is not so familiar for you, and you need to choose the correct statement after that, the common mistake that I see is that students say, well, there is this word in the text that I know. I'm exaggerating, of course. And then I'm going to choose the statement which also includes this word. It might be misleading. It doesn't mean that it won't be correct all the time, but I'm just trying to say, try to be like a detective, try to be careful, because in exams like this, the examiners, they are really testing like how well you really understand the idea, yeah, because it is very easy to just find the same words in the text, right? So yeah, you need to be smart about your choices. Another thing that I want to say, from my experience as a learner myself, because I have also taken different exams, be smart about how you plan your time, because the time in exams is limited. So let's say there are 4 texts and about different topics, and you need to choose in this exercise, the correct statement. But let's say the first text is about topic that I don't know so well, or maybe it includes some very complicated words that you don't know, and you spend so much time trying to figure out what is going on in this text that you lose time. Feel free to leave it for later. Go on and do the task that you know, that you feel more confident about, And then later on, you can go back to the first one that you weren't so sure about. Yeah, so be like a detective, look for the clues, but at the same time, be smart how you plan your time. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's look at another example from the reading task. Yeah, one of the typical tasks looks like this. So there are four advertisements, A, B, C, D, and you have to find out which one matches the situation described below. Yeah, so you can see there are two situations, yeah, and there are four advertisements. So, for example, someone is looking for a flat to rent in Riga. So, which ad fits that? So, let's take one example. Like saulains vienistabas dzīvoklis Rīgas centrā, centrāla apkure, augstais karstais ūdens, maksa par īri 200 € mēnesī. Blakus sporta laukums, koncerta zāle un lielveikals. A sunny one-room apartment in Riga's center. There is central heating, cold, hot water, and the price is 200 € a month. And the correct version will be Haralds ir no Latgales. Pēc vidusskolas viņš studēs medicīnu. Viņš meklē vietu galvaspilsētā, kur dzīvot studiju laikā. So remember, you need to be a detective. So here is a hint. So here you see Riga, and there's this word galvaspilsēta. So Riga is not mentioned here, right? But there is this word galvaspilsēta, which means capital city. And we know Riga is the capital city of Latvia. Yeah, and this is how you can say that this is the correct answer. Yeah. Yeah, and on the right side, you see an example from my course. The exact type of exercise. And so the style and the task type matches the type of the tasks that you will see in the exam. So when you're really taking the exam, then you can feel more confident. Down. The third exercise in the reading part is that you will need to choose the correct word. So there are three, and you need to choose one. Here in this task, I would say they are checking how your vocabulary. So for example, like mīl, patīk, priecājas. So mīl, love, patīk, to like, priecāties, to be happy about something. So the tricky thing is that in Latvian, we don't say mīl about things that we like doing. I know that in English you say like that, but in Latvian we then use patīk. So mīl we would use only about you can love your family, so about living beings, like es mīlu savu ģimeni. You can also say it about animals, es mīlu savu suni, savu kaķi, but not about the activities. Priecāties, however, you can say es priecājos par sasniegumiem, I am happy about achievements. But here, for example, if you use priecājas, then you need the preposition priecājas par kaut ko. But here, if you just say that you like doing something, then the only option that you can choose is patīk. Andrim patīk aktīvā atpūta. Yeah, so in exercise 3, you will need to show that you know, that you have good vocabulary about different topics, and also they are going to test in some ways your grammar as well. Down. Okay, so now we have come to the writing part. Again, there will be 3 exercises in the writing part. Now, pirmais uzdevums, a typical exercise. So there will be pictures. Apskatiet fotoalbumu, uzrakstiet par katru fotoattēlu vienu teikumu. Look at the photo album and write one sentence about each photo. What is important here? Katrā teikumā ne mazāk kā 5 vārdi. In each sentence, there should be at least 5 words. So what is important here? Pay attention, of course, that you have these 5 words, not 4, for example. But in this exercise, you don't need to write long paragraphs. Keep it short, because if you write a long paragraph, there is a higher possibility that you will make a mistake, I don't know, in grammar or in spelling. So keep it short, but also you need to have a sentence at least with 5 words. Yeah, that is the most important thing here. Okay. Here, yeah, this is from the example from the sample exam, and this is from my course. Exercise 2. So here you need to use the correct forms of the words in the brackets. So if we go back and if we look at the criteria, so exercise 2. So jāieraksta 5 vārdi. Viens lietvārds, viens darbības vārds, viens vietnieka vārds, viens īpašības vārds, viens skaitļu vārds. So you will, they are testing how, if you can decline nouns, if you can conjugate verbs, you can use the correct form of pronouns, adjectives, and also numbers. Yeah, so if you go back, yeah, for example, jauni, so that is adjective, how you can change the form of the adjective. Yeah, so basically that is grammar. Now, exercise 3 in the writing task. So that will be the longest one, and you will need to write a text. That can be, it can be an email or a message or a letter. Iedomājieties, ka jūs bijāt ceļojumā, uzrakstiet draugam, draudzenei īziņu, kurā. Imagine that you were on a trip and write to your friend a message. Where? Pastāstiet, kad un kur jūs bijāt. Tell when and where you were. Raksturojiet pilsētu, valsti. Describe the city, the country. Uzrakstiet, kas jums ceļojumā patika un kas nepatika. Write what you liked or didn't like during your trip. Iesakiet draugam, draudzenei apmeklēt šo pilsētu vai valsti. Recommend to your friend to visit this city or country. So here you will need to write a text that is around 35 words. Here, pay attention that it is not shorter. It can be a little bit longer, yeah, but yeah, it is not shorter. One important thing that you need to keep in mind so there is kurā, and then there are 4 points that they are mentioning. In your text, you need to write answers to all of them. Let's say if you write answers to first, third, or fourth, and you forget the second one, then you are going to lose some points. That is one thing to keep in mind. Then another thing is the structure of the text. In the writing task, they are looking whether you know like what are the opening marks, closing marks, like Labdien, Anna. That is the opening, yeah. After that, for sure, even if it is a short text, you need to have 3 paragraphs. So it is introduction. You are saying, I don't know, Sveika, Anna, kā tev iet? Es tev rakstu, jo I am writing you. How are you? I'm writing you because. That will be the introduction. In the main part, you are going to answer all these questions. And then you will have a conclusion and the closing marks. Yeah, so that is about the writing task. Yeah, and just really remember to use 3 paragraphs because when I was in the teacher's seminar, they said that the many students lose points because they are not dividing the text into 3 paragraphs. Yeah. Okay, and now we have come to the speaking part. So if I said about about the writing, like where you needed to write a sentence with 5 words, that keep it short. Then in the speaking, you can you can you can talk as much as you want. Yeah, in the first exercise, there will be some. In the first task, they are going to ask you some questions about different topics. And here, keep in mind that, normally there won't be binary questions like yes, no questions. But even if there are, try not to answer only with yes, no, jā, nē. Let's say, you can say, jā, man patīk Rīga, jo tā ir ļoti skaista pilsēta. Try to make it like as long as you can. Yeah. Another thing that I have noticed with beginners and elementary students, in speaking tasks, sometimes you want to make very complicated sentences, but try to say what you know how to say. Yeah. And keep it simple. Keep it simple. Simple works as well. It is good as well. Yeah, to get ready for the speaking task, there are not that many topics that you need to talk about. You in the A2 exam, it would be, for example, I don't know, family, shopping, city, town, free time activities, health, all the topics that you can see in the criteria of the exam. Those will be the topics that you'll need to answer questions about. There won't be complicated topics like environment. That will be for higher levels. Done. So this is exercise 1. Done. Exercise 2. Again, you will be shown pictures about different topics so that they can test how that you have vocabulary about different topics. And here you will need to answer 3 questions. Kas, who, ko dara, what are they doing, and kur, where. During the seminar, the examiner who are preparing the tests and listening to the students taking the speaking part, they said that very common mistake is that for some reason students maybe this stress, I don't know, but for some reason students forget to answer the question kur. Remember that when you answer the question kur, it will be locative case. Another thing that is very common in this exercise, pay attention that you use verbs, because otherwise you will lose some points because you are not answering the question kodara, what they are doing. So let's take a look at this picture with the family and the girl turning 8. So you cannot say tur ir mamma, tētis, meita, kūka, uz galda puķis. You need to use verbs like viņi svin dzimšanas dienu dārzā kopā ar savu ģimeni. Yeah, so that is very important that you use the verbs. not only describe what you see in the picture. Of course, grammatically, it will be correct that you say tur ir mamma, tētis, meita, but this way you are not showing how you can use verbs, first of all. And another thing, you are not showing how you can decline the nouns. Because if you just use tur ir and use the nominative, because after ir you use nominative, then you are just showing that you know the vocabulary. But if you don't conjugate the verb, if you conjugate the verbs are the boss, boss in the sentence, and they, because of the verbs, you need to change the forms of the nouns. So this way they're testing that you know not only the vocabulary, but you can also change the noun forms. Of course, if you make a minor mistake, don't worry about it. You're still going to get the points. It is not that bad, but just just follow the rules that are here, that are there, that you answer all the questions that are required. Yeah. And in the third exercise, there will be some texts, some very short texts, and you will need to ask questions about these texts. It is not that you need to make a dialogue about these situations. No, like for example, if you look at number 1, Valmieras Olimpiskajā centrā notiks basketbola spēle Latvija-Lietuva. Spēles datums. The Olympic Center of Valmiera, there a basketball game will take place Latvia, Lithuania. Spēles datums, the date of the game. So you need to ask a question. What is the date of the game? When will this game take place? Kad notiks šī spēle? Kurā datumā notiks šī spēle? There is not only one correct way how you can ask it. As long as it is grammatically correct and you can get the information when you ask this question, then you're fine. And this is also a task that you can get ready very easily, because there are not that many questions that you can ask about different topics. Like on the right, I have an example from my course. Like, uzzini cenu, cik maksā? Uzzini cenu, cik maksā will always work, and that's it. Uzzini darba laiku, kāds ir darba laiks? Uzzini adresi, kāda ir adrese? Uzzini stāvu, kurā stāvā? Yeah, this is like if you go through like different types of questions, I think for like you will be fine. Yeah, and as you decided to join my webinar, I have a gift for you. In order to understand where you are right now, I will send you a sample writing exercise to test yourself. There will be 2 exercises, very similar to the ones as we discussed, that will be in the exam. You can write your answer in the email, send me. I will correct your text, and I will send you my video feedback with explanations, and I will tell you where you stand right now. Down. Yeah. And to sum up, I want to say thank you very much for joining the webinar. I really hope it was useful and that the structure is clear for you, and now you have a clearer understanding what you can expect from the course, and yeah, you have already taken the first step, because you showed up and you are motivated, and also for the ones that are watching the recording. And yeah, if you want my help and clear guidance, my courses are open for new students. You can check out my online courses on my website, latvianonline.lv. And yeah, if you have any questions, I am here to answer them. You can write in the chat or you can turn on your microphone. Paldies, Garim!